Hey there, YouTubers. It's been a little while since we've done a video, so I figured I would get something up here for you. And as the title suggests, today I thought we would learn how to spoof the MAC address. Uh, Little disclaimer before we start here. First, I am not doing this to teach you how to spoof a MAC address for, let's say, bad purposes. This is merely informational to teach you how to spoof a MAC address, so if you're in the IT world, you can possibly learn how to prevent this. Because obviously, if you spoof a MAC address, you can do some very, very bad things. Uh, for instance, you can spoof the MAC address of another computer that happens to be on a work network. And let's say they have port security turned on to their all their ports on their switch, and so if you want to move over to another cubicle or whatever, it have normally cases if you plug your computer into that port over there, the port security is going to kick in depending on how many MAC addresses they allow on the network. And ultimately, it will end up shutting down that port. You get yelled at, fired, whatever the case may be, according to the company's security policies. So, a way around that would be to ultimately spoof the MAC address, which means you are going to change the MAC address of your computer to match that of the computer that is normally on that particular port. Or in most cases, a lot of hackers will use this to kind of conceal their identity. That way it makes it a lot difficult to track it back to them, because MAC addresses, you can kind of consider that as a fingerprint per se. So if someone is able to track back a MAC address to a particular person, they can look at that on the computer and say, yeah, that was you that did this. So you can change that MAC address and kind of conceal your identity. So with that said, here we go. We're going to change the MAC address here. As you can see here, I am on my Windows 7 machine. This is pretty much the same throughout the different Windows platforms. Another side note with this, I will add that Windows is really vulnerable with security features, which, duh. It is Windows, hence why they get all the viruses and loopholes, and there's always security updates for them and all that fun stuff. But this further proves how weak the security on Windows really is. So enough of me talking. Here we go. What we want to do is spoof this MAC address. There's a couple different ways to do that. The particular motherboard that I have is an EVGA Nvidia-based motherboard. With that motherboard, there's Nvidia networking controllers on it that has software built into it. So I'll open up that one so you can actually see it. So this is the Nvidia control panel, and as you can see here, I am under the networking portion of it. And I went under change Ethernet configuration, and here you have, I actually have two different network adapters on here. This is a dual network motherboard. With that, it's kind of cool. You can actually bind those together if you wanted to do a little bit of either channel or something like that. So you can see we have the two different Ethernet connections here. And don't try to spoof these, because these are actually not my MAC addresses. I have already spoofed it. So I am merely going to show you how to change it to a different MAC address. So you thought you were going to get me on that one. I'm already 2 steps ahead of you. So we're going to pick one of these. Let's go with this one. This is actually my network connection number 2. And here we have network address. It gives it right here. And actually I can just click right inside of it, and I can actually make this whatever I want. Let's knock that out. Let's make let's go 1A, 2C, 3D, I don't know, 4F, 5, something, I don't know, C, 6, 0. Why not? And we'll click off that. We're going to apply it. It is done. As you see up here, it did change. This is my other one. I won't worry about spoofing that one. We'll just do the 1 for now. So there we go, 1A, 2C, 3D, 4F, 5C-60. Now there is another way to do that if you do not have this Nvidia control panel. And this is where the Windows security comes into play here. Let's say we didn't have that Ethernet software. We want to find out what our MAC address is. So we're going to go into command prompt and we're going to do an ipconfig/all. And it's going to route off all of my adapters, which is a ton of them. VirtualBox, a lot of fun stuff. So this is the one I'm using. Here we go. Here's 1A-2C-3D-4F-5C-60. And keep in mind that this does say is Nvidia Enforced 10-100-1000 Ethernet. So I'm going to move that over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the registry. Alright, what we're going to do is the section you need to go into is HKey local machine, system, control set 001, control, and we're going to go into class. And the key you want to look through here, don't be intimidated, there is a ton of them listed, is you want to go to this 4036E972. Just look for the 972 because it's all numericals, so it's always going to be listed in the 972. Then you're going to drop that down and click that off. You're going to see a bunch of numbers. It's all four digits. And what you're going to do is go one by one, and you want to look for either this MAC address, or you can look for the name Nvidia Enforced 10-100-1000. This says WAN mini port, so we'll keep moving. WAN mini port, WAN mini port, another WAN mini port, WAN mini port, another one, and here we have Nvidia Enforced 10-100-1000. So we want to look for a registry key called network address, which is this little guy right here. And I can see here 1A, 2C, 3D, 4F, 5 or F5C60. That matches up here. So that is our MAC address. So we want to change that. So we'll open it up. Actually, I kind of double click. So yeah, right click. You're going to do modify. And so we can change that. Let's go 1A, 0A, 1B, 2C, 3D, 4E, 5F. Yeah, looks pretty good to me. We'll click OK, and it is changed. So let's do an ipconfig all. Let's see if it changed. One A, 2C, 3D, 4F, 5C, 60. Doesn't look like it changed. But ultimately what you can do is give it a reboot and it should show up. So no big deal. That is pretty much it. Also what you can do is if you go in here and there is no network address, which actually I believe my Nvidia software probably created that network address registry key in here when I had spoofed it initially, is just go into your whichever one you're at here, which mine was 0007, right click, new string value, then you're going to name it network address, and it's all set here. So when you open that up, modify it, then just put in your MAC address, and that will change for you. Click that back out, and that is pretty much it. So, like I said, it's very easy to do, and do not do this for purposes that can get you in trouble. I will not be held responsible, and I will not bail you out of jail if you're caught doing this for bad reasons. As I said, this is merely informational to help you prevent your network from getting hacked by this. What you can do to keep these Windows computers, to keep a user from getting in here and changing these network addresses is, if it is a Windows domain, you can implement some group policy that keeps them from getting into the registry, lock down the user accounts. That'll keep them from getting into the registry that way. There's other ways around that though. It's kind of a cat and mouse thing between the white hats and the black hats, which is the good hackers that know how to hack, just try to prevent it, versus the black hats who are the bad guys that we try to stop. The way around this, so just an FYI, is you can actually boot off a USB flash drive or a CD, and there's a lot of utilities like BARPE, ERD Commander, Knoppix, stuff like that that'll give you access to the Windows file system as well as the Linux file system, so you can do a lot of naughty things through that. If you're going to go one step further on this, then you would also need to lock down the BIOS with a password and disable any CD-ROM USB boot. But then ultimately, though, there are also utilities that will allow a user to be able to hack the BIOS and be able to get rid of that password and kind of get in there and do what they want with it. So you just have to kind of keep an eye on things and hope for the best. So hopefully this has been pretty informational for you all, and if you have any questions, shoot me a message and I will try to answer it as best as I can. Subscribe up, and I'll try to get some more informational videos for you. And as always, thank you for watching.